All right, we're just gonna go right into it. Hi, everybody! I forgot to start the intro video.
We're off to a hell of a start, folks.
There's been chaos backstage.
Yeah, just a bit.
Nothing but religion and politics, you know.
Oh yeah, it was crazy. I think I'm converted now to something. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Anyway, welcome to Tug Chat. I haven't had that 1 minute of video to recombobulate myself. While I think about how I'm going to do this, why don't I go ahead and introduce the people who are in the chat? We've got Sarah's in the chat. Danny is in the chat. I think I see something going on here. Okay, Caden Ciro.
Yeah,
hello.
she was here. She had to go.
Oh, okay.
Good to see her. She's awesome.
Michael DeCosimo. The Shining. That actually might be something I want to talk about. Chrissy's in the house. Channel member. Brainbender's Banter. Hello. Wim Vanderstraten is here as always.
Well, I just called
somebody called the nostalgic pod something blast. That's weird.
Yeah, I've heard of him. He's he's there.
He has an excellent taste in shirts.
Well, yeah.
Thank you.
And unlike me, his Hawaiian shirts are apparently authentic. He gets them from Hawaii.
Yeah.
Jess Carowin is here, as always. Good to see you.
Just as awesome.
Snarky, boopy to you as well.
Oh, shoot. My phone
okay, so today what I decided we were going to talk about is remakes, both good and bad. But before I can do that, we have to decide on our terms here, because the word remake can mean so many different things.
Yeah.
If you take a book and you adapt it into a movie, and then you make another movie where you're adapting from the same book, but it's not necessarily a remake of the original movie, is that a remake? Like The Thing, does that count? I think it does. For the purposes of me and my channel, I'm always very loosey-goosey. If you can squeeze it into the definition, I accept it. And then there's reboots, which is a whole nother thing. And then there's, like the Star Trek reboot with J.J. Abrams. Is that a reboot, or is it just a different continuity, or is it a remake? All these things get kind of confusing. But as I said, for the purposes of this video, anything that you might be able to call a remake is called a remake. Okay?
Alrighty.
Don't need to get into too much pedantry. That goes for you, Indy.
I was going AM.
Okay.
AM.
His AM. Yes, he is AM. AM. And good morning, Kay Moonin. Good to see you again.
Kay's awesome.
So since who brought it up? Since Michael DeCosimo brought it up, I'm going to go ahead and talk about The Shining. That's what I'm going to pick. So as we all know, Stephen King despised the Stanley Kubrick version of The Shining. So when they made it for TV, I think it was like in 90, 91, somewhere in there, they made it with that guy from Wings. And it was for TV, and the special effects are pretty terrible. But I will admit it is closer to the book, but I don't really like it very much. I actually think the actor, the guy from Wings, actually did a pretty good job. I mean, it's hard to follow up Jack Nicholson. But he made a very convincing, angry alcoholic, which obviously they leaned a lot more into that because that's more of what the book is about. Whereas in The Shining, the Stanley Kubrick version, it's more subtextual. I mean, he's an alcoholic. It's brought up, but the whole thing is like an allegory for alcoholism is way more subtle in the Stanley Kubrick version. Whereas in the TV version, it's in your face. So yeah. I think I would have liked it more if it had actually gotten rid of the stupid hedge maze animals, because they're so hard to get through that part of the miniseries because they're so embarrassing. It's supposed to be terrifying, and you got in broad daylight in the snow these basically just animated hedge animals, like really bad early 90s CG. I mean, they might as well have just drawn them by hand. It was cringy and terrible and not scary in the slightest.
Yeah. I would imagine that's.
So does
I'm
anybody
just
have?
kind of remembering right now. That's awful. I
Yeah.
wish you hadn't brought that up.
Money, you're welcome. Yeah. Like I said, we're going to talk about good and terrible remakes. And this is a little bit of both. Like I said, I applaud it for trying to stay true to the book and make Stephen King happy. But at the same time, it's also pretty bad in terms of budget and production values and all that. So,
yeah.
Anybody else have anything to say?
Before I was married, I had a roommate who was a Stephen King fanatic. I mean, I'm a fan, but this guy was like
Right.
an anthologist. And he basically said exactly the same thing you did. It was a more faithful adaptation, but you couldn't get past the silly monsters. I'm one of those people where
Steven Weber, thank you, Indy.
It's almost like stage adaptations. You know, you can only do so much on the stage. So I see the monsters more as a representation than an actual, than the special effects being something that I'm supposed to be impressed with. But he said, as you did, it's a much more faithful adaptation, but the hedge monsters pretty much ruined it for him.
Yeah, they could have just taken that out entirely and it would have been fine. Like, you didn't need them in the story. You really don't. They're not necessary to the plot.
What was that?
Anyway, thank you, Vim, for it's actually 97, which tells you something because it felt like early 90s. It was late.
What was that actor's name in that movie again?
I was a freshman.
Say again?
The
What
guy
was that,
from
Dan?
Wings?
Yeah, Steven Weber was his name. Yeah.
Stephen Weber. It wasn't Timothy Daly.
No, that's the other guy. Yeah.
That's the other one. I get them mixed up for some reason.
Yeah, and when I say the guy from Wings, I could also be talking about Thomas Hayden Church. Like, there's a bunch of guys from Wings.
It's so funny too. My aunt and uncle were friends with the guy who the story is actually based on. They actually knew him, this man who set up this local airline service between Boston and Cape and Islands. And it was so funny because I grew up here in New England, but my brother grew up in North Carolina, and he had come up for a visit, and he saw a T-shirt that said Nantucket, and he goes, "Oh, is like Wings really popular here?" And I go, "No, there actually is a Nantucket." He thought Nantucket was a made-up island for show, and I go, "Did you never study the whaling industry when you were in school?" But yeah. I mean, I'm from New England. I heard of Cape Hatteras, so it's like, you know.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, you don't want to think about it too logically, Indy. That's your problem. It's a horror movie, man. How about ghosts?
The funny thing about The Shining is, and we've talked about this on several occasions, the scarier part of The Shining is actually the behind-the-scenes making of the movie The Shining.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I bit my tongue.
Oh. I would cover it in a video, but this October, where I usually do my horror reviews, I'm already like all booked up on Hammer horror. I'm doing a whole Hammer month.
If I had a hammer.
It's hammer time. Oh, wait. No,
I would love to nail you. Sorry.
If I'd only known.
I'll be looking forward to this Halloween so we can get hammered.
Mike Silva, hello. Good to see you.
Mikey. Hey, brother.
Mike.
Yeah, I'm glad you liked Wicked. I know a lot of people who went in not expecting to like it, who really liked it. I never saw it. I know Danny saw it. Just look at him. You can see that he saw it.
He's been making a lot of movie mistakes lately.
Okay, I'll be nice. Wicked was better than I was expecting.
Was it better or worse than Snow White? That's the
Oh God, they're equal pieces of garbage. I don't know. I think Snow White may have been a little worse on kind of the overuse of CGI and animated dwarf-looking things or what. I couldn't figure out if they were animated or just real ugly people.
Look,
yeah, I mean,
man,
what is it with the? I mean, it is a remake, so it is on topic. But what is it with like these live action Disney remakes, live action, where they're basically 95% CG, so it's still animated? Why do they call them live action? It's just stupid.
Well, you know, because they already said they got cartoons out, so we can't just say I cartooned it again. Nobody's gonna watch it.
I think they're trying to do an homage to the old, like the old musical films where you'd have Tom and Jerry do a dance routine with Astaire or whomever. They're trying to do that where they're trying to blend animation and live action. The Incredible Mr. Limpet, that type of thing. The problem is CGI doesn't work. I don't know why, but it doesn't work.
That uncanny valley thing, it messes with it. You got to do it. You got to do it hand drawn. You got to do it Roger Rabbit style. You know.
I just think the original cartoons are much better. You know.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree with both of you. I think the two of you have actually hit the nail on the head. I think that's the like these new AI artworks. I find them off-putting. They're like ventriloquist dummies to me. There's something like so yeah.
Look, dude, don't even worry about this AI stuff, man. They can't even get me right. I put in the prompts to describe me, and it's not me at all. So you know, I bird. It's easier. I can bird. Screw you, AI. It's always trying to get me canceled. It needs to stop.
Did it come out with a bird with a little hurt wing?
No. One time I just said make a picture, and I didn't give it the prompt, but I accidentally hit send, and it sent me a guy in the hospital. And this is just after Dan was in the hospital last time. I was like, "What are the odds, AI? Why are you doing this to me?" It just randomly made that. I'm like, "Why?" I still have to send it to you if I find it again.
I went to the hospital so much since New Year's Eve that the last time I walked in, the nurse looked up and said, "Oh God, it's you again."
I love the story, and I'm not sure if it's an urban legend or not, but I love the story. Somebody asked Surrey, explain the plot of 2001, and it says words to the effect of an artificial intelligence and an alien life form try to do something wonderful, and humans get in the way. It's like, ooh, that's your take on it? Ooh. Sorry to bother you.
At least it didn't say, sorry, I can't do that.
Hey, to Jim Von Spiegel watching on my Facebook Live platform in Ohio. He says Snow White was horrible. Terrible.
I have to agree with that statement.
And Joe Gutfeld on my platform says remakes usually suck. He's in New York State. Happy Passover, Joe.
That is a very common sentiment, and I come up across that a lot on my channel.
You know, I'm going to have to disagree with that statement right there, buddy. I can think of quite a few remakes that actually are better than the original, or at least.
Me too.
But if you do percentage-wise, I mean, I get a bunch too, but percentage-wise, in fact, I was going to speak to that when I came up. If we actually get to remakes, but
okay, so let's move on so we can get there. Sarah,
yes,
pick something.
Okay, right. So the first one that came to mind once I saw what the topic was V. I love the original V so much. Yes, V is amazing. And then they made that remake, and I was like, my eyes are bleeding still to this day. I have flashbacks of PTSD from that stupid series. Yeah.
The thing about the V remake, I thought it started out really well. Like I thought that first episode.
The first episode was great. And then they were like, "What? We're not going to do that. Sorry, we're going to suck."
And it was all like this, like hero worship, and people putting their hands putting their fates in the hands of this authoritarian that's promising them everything. And this came out during a presidential election year. I really dug that. I thought that was cool. And then it turned into this CGI vomit mess, Sci-Fi Channel original type version of V.
Those eggs.
It's just so bad.
Oh
the original V miniseries was very well done, and I did like it.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah,
the kid
Kenneth Johnson directed, wrote it. I interviewed him on the pod blast.
Yeah,
really?
Very cool.
But it was
that is so cool.
What was that, Dan?
I said the TV show lacked a little bit, but it was a TV show. What do you expect?
Well, yeah,
it was
sure.
a TV. Well, it was an original miniseries, right?
Yeah, but there was also a TV show after the miniseries. Yeah,
right. And I liked it. I thought it gets a bad rap.
I hate the TV series, but I also was aware that it was a TV series, and I didn't expect it to have the budget miniseries.
Yeah,
right. It didn't have as big a budget,
and it had Michael Ironside. I mean, come on.
Yes, in an early role, he was great in it. And the kid who played Mark Singer's son just died recently.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, he did.
One of my favorite things in the original one, right, is like the photographer guy and the chick, whatever, I can't think of their names. Anyways, they were up on, the ship, right? And, they have their regular faces on, right? And then they have to switch their faces to the lizard faces. It's just awesome. They really did well with that. It was practical effects plus makeup. It looked great. And then I'm like, wow, that's awesome, right? Even to this day, it still holds up. And then you see that modern whatever that was, anyways, and it's just a nightmare. It's just awful. Anyways, a 10 out of 10. Recommend the original, not the remake.
Yeah, I agree. Like the remake had a lot of potential that was just wasted. Like,
yeah, they were like, "No, that sounds like effort. We don't want to do that." I'm like, "You could. It's okay. We'd like to
They
get
had Elizabeth Mitchell. They had good actors in it.
They did. Monica Baccarat is amazing. She's
they
great.
brought back Kane Badler.
Yep,
even though he had some really rough plastic surgery. I shouldn't say that on the air, but
it's true.
But she did great. I mean, you still could act. And yeah, there was a lot of talent that was wasted. But the original series, miniseries, was great. And I like the final battle, the second miniseries. But Ken Johnson did not have anything to do with it.
He wasn't involved.
He bashes it to this day because I don't like a lot of the things they did. But I like some of the concepts. I like the torture when Diana tortured Julie Parrish in the chamber, with her fears, making her face her fears. That was cool.
Yeah. No, I like the whole thing, the original. From beginning to end, I think it's great.
I was bummed out that the Visitor's enemy never showed up. I thought that would have been a really awesome subplot. In fact,
it was a tease that never got paid off. Yeah,
they were going to.
I had heard that. I had heard that's what they initially intended. But when the gentleman's name left, they went in a different direction.
Right. And there was an episode that was banned by NBC for too much violence that they eventually aired 2 months after the last original episode in production order aired. It aired in May 24th, 1985. Have it on film, The Breakout. It was the third in production order. So basically the plot makes no sense. When NBC censors removed that third episode, there was an ongoing storyline where the mother of the star child took off in a truck. And that's never explained except for in that final episode they eventually aired. And to your point, Thrash, they did have a good finale plan where the Star Child was taken by the superior leader of the aliens, the lizard people. And it's to be continued. And then they never filmed the next episode. They only filmed 19 episodes of that hourly weekly series.
Right.
Anyway.
That actually explains a lot.
Yeah,
but that episode's really good. Breakout for violence as a monster. It's like the Outer Limits classic episode, Invisible Enemy. Where there's like a sand type monster. They did that Buck Rogers as well with Gil Gerard. But I've got it on film, and I love that episode. Anyway, enough said.
Okay. Neat.
But yeah, the V remake sucked, and that was number one on my list.
Of course it was, Chance. We think alike.
It lasted 2 seasons, though.
And that
second season it's eye-bleedingly terrible.
Oh yeah, like I said, I still got all the symptoms of PTSD from that. I mean, I've had to watch the original one just to clear my head.
Let me point out that no matter how bleedingly terrible it was, it's still better than a lot of stuff on TV today.
Well, that's true.
You're not
quick point.
Wrong.
Not really.
Quick point about the first 1 hour V episode. It's funny. It takes place right after the final battle where Diana escapes in a shuttlecraft. She has straight hair.
Yeah.
Then it cuts to the new part, and she has 80s wavy hair. Her hair is completely different. So they show stock footage of the end where she escapes in the same episode, and then where she's being chased by Donovan in a shuttlecraft firing upon her. Her hair looks completely different. I think it's funny.
Continuity is a thing. A lot of people don't like it. It's weird.
When you got fired up on it, messed her hair up, man.
Hey, Roger, on the DVD, they cut a trailer. There was a 1 minute trailer before the opening credits. It's on my film prints. Warner Brothers is notoriously cheap. They did that with Wonder Woman season 2. There'll be like a little trailer that originally aired before the opening credits. And for whatever reason, Warner Brothers did not put that on the DVDs. And it makes me mad. My films have it. And they're well edited. And sometimes they show different takes or alternate scenes or cut scenes like the next week original Star Trek trailers did. Sometimes they showed something that was cut. These V trailers are really cool. I'm so happy to have some of these in my film collection. I imported from Australia with that trailer intact.
That's very cool.
I like how V is basically, it was based on, I can't remember the name of the book, but it was basically.
It could happen here.
It could happen here. That's it. Well, it was basically just about a Nazi uprising in America, like Nazis taking over America. And they turned that into an alien invasion story to make it palatable for audiences and to make it less controversial. But if you watch V, especially the original miniseries, it's not subtle. Not even close.
No, that's Ken Johnson's writing. Yeah, and the V stands for victory, and it's a symbol of defiance.
Exactly. Yes.
Over the poster, someone spray paints the last shot the red V.
Yeah, and then you actually have like an
Just out of
elderly
curiosity.
Jewish man explaining it. You know, I mean,
Just out of curiosity, does anybody on the panel know where that original V thing come from?
I don't remember.
I'm not
No.
sure.
The French resistance used to do that to the Nazi posters in Germany in the 1940s. They'd put a red V over it, and that's where the old man taught the kid. He was a Jewish Holocaust survivor, and he taught the kid to put the red V over their posters.
Well, Winston Churchill used to do this, which in lowbrow circles in England means do something
Yes,
naughty
do
to
something
yourself.
else. Yeah.
But he used it as the V. And of
Go
course,
V yourself. Yeah.
there's
Go
a very
V.
important scene in V actually, where the grandson becomes a collaborator and is talking about all the things he's going to do to basically, because he was a disenfranchised teenager, but now he's like the big man in the town because if you don't do what I want, I'll turn your whole family over. And the grandfather throws his drink in his face and storms out. And I'm like, a lot of people I'm sure miss that. Oh yeah, the granddad is just angry at him. No, the granddad is a Holocaust survivor.
He knows
And
what's happening.
And raise a grandson to become a collaborator, and nothing could have been more obscene to him. And I remember watching as a kid saying, how many people actually got that?
Yeah.
Because, it's like, as you say, it's an allegory of World War II. But I was also something of a World War II buff when I was a teenager. A lot of kids weren't back then.
Did you notice in the original miniseries, it showed some pretty good violence where this guy's hand, a human's hand, was frozen and it smashes off in his hand. Yeah, and I like Richard Lawson, a black actor who played a doctor. He's tragically killed in the original miniseries, and his younger brother, who's basically a drug dealer, is like
gang member,
feeling immense guilt. A great scene, really dramatic scene. Enough said. Just where he dies. It's like, anyway, that always got to me, that scene. That guy was a good actor. I don't know what happened to Richard Lawson. You'd seen him in like St. Elsewhere, and I think Star
he was
Trek
all
3,
over the
Search for
80s.
Spock.
But
Yeah.
He just
Even
kind of vanished.
White Shadow had a good guest spot in the show called White Shadow about a high school basketball team. Ken Howard starred as the coach. It was a good show.
Okay.
You ever heard of White Shadow, Tug?
No, I can't say that I have.
3 years on CBS. It used to run on ESPN Classic.
And it had some surprisingly strong episode themes. Violence, prostitution.
Yes.
The guy from Police Academy who makes all the sound effects.
Yeah, he was a disturbed child. Yeah, or
with like Tourette's. It's like one of the first times we actually see Tourette's on the TV screen. You think he's just a joker, but he's actually mentally ill, and it was a really powerful episode.
Yes, it was. Thrash, they killed one of the main actors who played one of the teenage basketball players. He got shot to death.
That's right.
I mean, it was real dramatic show. It was like Room 222 on steroids about high school. Yeah.
Well, I've never seen or heard of that.
Wait till you hear the theme song. It's got a lot of bass. Look it up on YouTube. The White Shadow. Look up the opening credits. It's got this great bass line opening theme.
Anyway. I wrote it down on my notes. I'll look it up after the show.
Right on. Send me the link then, Geek. Thanks.
Michael Winslow. Thank you.
Yes, Michael Winslow. The sweeps, the beeps, and the creeps. Okay, Dan. Now it's your turn.
Okay. I'm going to pick one that the original movie to me was just as good as the remake. But for some reason, I can't quite put my finger on it. I did like the remake better. Maybe it's because it's color. Maybe because the special effects were a lot better. I don't know. But let me just bring up The Fly. Original was Vincent Price. Remake with Jeff Goldblum.
Yes.
And to me, that's probably my favorite remake that come out a lot better than the original. But yeah, I still love the original, and I can't explain why.
Yep.
They're so different.
Agreed on
really
both those.
To
very good.
Even though I had Gina Davis in it, I can't stand Gina Davis, but it was great.
I remember
That's the one where she met Jeff Goldblum, and then they got married.
And
and they got divorced.
It was between that one and Invaders from Mars as far as my favorite remakes that were probably, I love the original, but the remakes were just maybe a tad bit better for some reason.
Yeah, well, when I was a kid, like I said, I didn't get to watch a lot of movies, right? But my cousins who lived around the corner went to Blockbuster. Yeah, it's a cool place. Anyways, went to Blockbuster and rented The Fly, right?
Oh,
and so,
God.
Yeah, so we watched it at my house, right? She let us borrow it. And I'm going to tell you, I loved it. I thought it was great. And that was the first time I remember ever seeing Jeff Goldblum, and I thought he was an oddball, and I liked him. So
It blows
The
my
Fly.
mind, Sarah, that you saw that movie.
yeah, when it just came out on
Yeah.
VHS too. Woo!
Oh, let's
Shawnee
see.
Smith was in The Blob, wasn't she?
The Blob.
The Blob remake in the 80s.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
Now the Blob remake, I,
so.
love the
Yeah,
Blob, and I like the Blob remake, but the Blob remake for some reason just
Okay, Indy.
lacked what the original did. Even though that Steve McQueen being 40 years old playing a teenager really bothered me completely.
Well, yeah, because he was like almost 30 at that point.
I'm pretty sure he might have been older than that. But.
I did a video on it. I'd have to go back and look at it to see. I don't remember.
Well, at 42, I could play a 16-year-old, I swear.
I didn't see the original Fly until years after I'd seen the remake of The Fly. And I got this mental image. The only thing I knew about the original Fly is that it ended with somebody stuck as a fly in a spider web going, help me, and then it was a Vincent Price movie in my head. And it's really not a Vincent Price movie. He's in it, but he's not like in it.
He's in
a
2
lot.
scenes.
Yeah,
He's literally like 2 scenes.
He's the bookending scenes, and the main character is that guy from Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. What's his name?
David Hedison.
Hedison, right?
Lee Crane. Yeah.
Yeah.
And people think it was Vincent Price as the Fly. It was David Hedison who was the Fly.
David Hedison is the one who turns into the Fly.
It's hard to remember that because he spent most of his time as a big fly head.
Yeah, he's got the big fly head on him. But
After the first 8 minutes of the movie, he's got a big fly head.
It actually works for me. I love that fly head. Yeah, it looks kind of goofy and stupid, but I love it. I think it's great.
Vincent Price did a lot more acting in the Return of the Fly, the part 2.
Yes, the follow-ups he was in. He did a lot more there.
in that.
Quick fun fact about David Hedison: his daughter's romantically involved as a partner with Jodie Foster for some years.
Huh.
And she looks just like her dad.
Weird.
David, and he was, of course, the TV Lee Crane, not the movie.
Yeah.
Just for Indy and the people that are into specifics. Yeah. He was.
There are a lot of those in my comments. That's for sure. And he was also Leiter, Felix Leiter, in a few James Bond movies.
Oh, sure was. Yeah.
Yeah.
The first one with Roger Moore is where he started. And then the last
Live and
one
Let
with
Die.
Timothy Dalton. Yeah. Live and Let Die and License to Kill. And
Yep.
His wedding, he married Priscilla Barnes, the actress from Three's Company, played Terry. Remember,
That's
she
correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
she gets hit by a shark or something, or almost tortured. Yeah, terrible. Sorry.
I like seeing Chance get going. Like once his wheels start spinning, I love it.
It's the caffeine in this sun kiss. Sorry.
Yeah, Sunkissed is the only way to go because it's the only one that has caffeine. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Fly, more or less, the remake was on my favorites movie list because I am such a Jeff Goldblum fan.
Yep, there's the Fly.
It was we think alike. Yeah.
And I see what you wrote
Also,
after
And Jeff Goldblum got the opportunity to run with it more. David Hedison wrote some stuff on a chalkboard.
Yeah.
And you can see that he was like losing control to the Fly's side of him. But with Jeff Goldblum, you really see that transformation. It's almost like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde transformation. And I thought that added a great dimension to the movie.
Yeah, the remake was a lot more of a psychological study.
Back in them days, Jeff Goldblum was doing movies like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, where he was doing the remake of horror movies.
Never heard of that movie.
Well, not that version of it. I've never seen that version of it. I like all the others.
I only saw the Nicole Kidman version. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, that was classic. That was awesome.
You just made me think of a good one on my bad list of remakes.
Hey,
Thank you.
This is a hate letter to Will Smith.
No.
All right, fine. I'll be good.
Now,
Where there's
that
a
was
will,
my-
there's dismay.
That was a movie that had a great remake, and then after that had a crappy remake, and that would be that Last Man on Earth, the Omega Man with the great remake, and then the Will Smith piece of garbage at the end.
That's another movie I've never heard of. I don't know what you're talking about.
Who is this Will Smith you speak of?
What's a Will Smith? I never heard of this. Wasn't he a rapper or something? Crazy.
Your parents don't just don't understand. Yeah,
Not so fresh anymore.
That's what she said.
But when I did finally get around to watching the original Fly, like, I was surprised at how like it dealt with some intense subject matter. Like the movie basically deals with assisted suicide and stuff like that. And I was surprised that a movie from, I think it was like 53, 54, somewhere in there, maybe even a little bit later than that, but it was still the 50s, is dealing with such like harrowing subject matter so directly. And it's not indirect. It is direct. They talk about it directly. Like, is it okay to let him commit suicide in this vice to squish him, which is messed up. I was just genuinely surprised because, like I said, I didn't see it until years and years after I saw the Jeff Goldblum version.
So, yeah. I grew up watching that as a kid on Shock Theater every Sunday.
Yeah.
When I was 10 and 11.
It's a great movie. Like, I love the original, but I do think the remake is a little more. I mean, yeah, it's grosser, but I also think it goes a lot more in depth in the psychology, and I think it is a little bit more poignant. But the original is still a great movie. Don't get me wrong. But that's all.
Okay.
Okay, so now Thrash. Now it is your turn.
Me? Okay. Well, one thing. This is actually way more in depth than I thought it was going to be. Because I mean, our instinct is to come up with a bunch of bad remakes, because that's the one everyone remembers. But I found there were actually a surprisingly number of good adaptations, good TV shows that came from movies, and good movies that were made on TV shows. And there's a lot that made almost no splash at all. They were there, but it's like, meh. So there's a whole mediocre category. But one of the things I decided to open with is, not that it stands on its own, but it went in a completely different direction, but was still good. Like, for example, where the movie was a dark dramedy and the TV show was, the TV show was like a dramedy. The movie was more of a comedy, but it still worked. So I'm opening up with Dragnet with Tom Hanks and Dan Aykroyd.
Dan Aykroyd, yeah.
Dan Aykroyd. Now, of course, one of my favorite classic TV shows is Dragnet.
Great show.
Friday is one of my favorite characters. Harry Morgan. I forget the guy who was before Harry Morgan was great, but I loved Harry Morgan. Harry Morgan. I love the whole police procedural type of thing. The whole anything by Quinn Martin was great.
City, Los Angeles, California. I was born here. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Just the facts, ma'am. Just the facts, ma'am. And I loved the show. I loved the show. But the movie, it was weird. The movie was very, very camp, but it took itself very serious. So it worked as this sort of farce. Dan Aykroyd did an amazing job as Friday's grandson. They got Harry Morgan to come back to reprise his role, this time as the captain. Tom Hanks as the Maverick rookie. It all comes, and of course, Christopher Plummer as a sort of comic book character type villain. This movie was so much fun. Now, it bombed at the box office, and I'm not sure if it's because it wasn't good and I just happened to like it for some reason, or I think it was poorly marketed, to be honest with you. It was really early on in this whole sort of make a movie based on a TV show renaissance that we're still in today. But I really thoroughly enjoyed it.
I haven't seen it in forever, so I don't really have much to say. I remember I liked it. I didn't hate it, but you're right. It's kind of like it got forgotten.
I think it was on TV one time, and I had watched bits and pieces of the movie not knowing that it was that. Because now you guys talk about it, I kind of remember something about that one time. Because Tom Hanks and whatever are kind of, you know who they are. And together, you definitely know who they are. So, yeah.
You can't forget Tom Hanks rolling around with that big old snake or wearing them goat leggings. I recently, about a month ago, sat through this movie at a dollar movie theater with a bunch of kids, and it's hilarious.
The Virgin Connie Swale. You're a virgin. Yeah, there we are. You mean the Virgin Connie Swale? Dun 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 dun. Yeah. Oh.
Okay, well, if nobody has anything else, then Chance, pick from your list, man.
All right, I'll just mention this round a couple of TV shows that were put on the big screen and adapted for the big screen. One, this is a popcorn fluff movie. I like The Flintstones from 1994. I thought that was a lot of fun with John Goodman as Fred Flintstone.
Yeah. Good casting.
Anything with Rick Moranis in it, who's retired from acting, I like, generally speaking. He won't do any of the Ghostbusters movies. He's retired. I think he's just totally underrated. Loved him since SCTV. I loved Twilight Zone, the movie from 1983, the ill-fated movie. We know about the tragedy. Vic Morrow was beheaded. 2 child actors were killed when the helicopter exploded, the helicopter stunt that went wrong. Yeah. And by the way, speaking of stunts, it was just announced that the Oscars will recognize best stunts starting in 2027. Cool. Yeah. I interviewed a woman last week who said, we're working on that thanks to Ryan Gosling and others. And it was just announced just days after my interview with this lady here, Sandra Gimple. But I don't want to get off topic. She's a stunt woman from TV and film. You can't really see it that well.
It does deserve a mention.
In the live tab, the Nostalgic Podcast. But I loved the Twilight Zone movie. I thought it had a lot of good in it. I liked John Lithgow in Nightmare at 20,000 Feet. That's probably my favorite segment. What was y'all's favorite segment in Twilight Zone, the movie? Because you had Kick the Can.
Kick the Can, because I like that one better.
That's the Spielberg version.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the precursor to, what was the movie from 1989 with the old people becoming young again?
Cocoon.
It was like...
I love Cocoon.
I can see that. I can see you connect, and I'm frozen.
Awesome.
And you're going
out of that.
Who had 37 minutes right there, buddy? The winner is 37 minutes.
And he's got a sour face. He's like, ugh.
I kind of like It's a Good Life. It's a Good Life remake.
It's a Good Life, yeah.
With Anthony.
That's the same face I made in the theater when I was watching Joker.
I like the take with the sister, right? Thrash in that he took her mouth away and you see his face looking at the TV. It reminded me of the Charlie X Star Trek where he took a woman's face away. That same similar.
I always thought that was amazing back then. I was like, dude, just straight putty on her face.
And the voice of Bart Simpson was in Twilight Zone, the movie.
She played the de facto sister, the one that he made his sister. Yeah,
right.
The rabbit out of the hat thing always freaked me out as a kid. Like that part was it wasn't as bad as the you want to see something really scary, but the rabbit coming out of the hat freaked me out.
And that was Kevin McCarthy, who was in another favorite remake of mine, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 1978. Yep. He was in the original as well, but I like that 78 version better than the original. I better hurry along here. Speed Racer. I like the live action Speed Racer based on the Japanese cartoon. I think it was released in 2007.
I wasn't a fan of that movie, but
I thought it was kind of a trip.
I liked it better when I saw it at home when I rented it because you could still rent movies from Netflix back then.
Renting.
But when I saw it in the movie theater, it basically gave me a migraine. Yeah. It needs a smaller screen. If you see it on the big screen, it's too much. It's saturated. It's not a bad movie though. I do like it, and I love Matthew Fox as Racer X. He's really good.
Right.
Yeah.
And then another good movie based on a TV show, The Saint, starring Val Kilmer. I think it's underrated. I thought it was really great. I liked his chemistry with Elizabeth Shue. I saw that in the theater a couple times. I really like The Saint. And we're going to talk about Val Kilmer on Thrash's channel tonight.
Yeah. We sure are. Yeah. Are you going to be able to join us there at chance?
Yeah, Sarah invited me. She sent me the link.
Awesome.
And I said I'd come on.
That is awesome.
We're having a part 2 of this conversation. All 5 of us are going to be there too.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome, guys.
Oh my God, that's great. Excellent.
Yeah, I'll be on touch about it.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll have to.
He'll always freeze up. It's what he does.
Another movie that knocked off a big remake. Titanic was a remake of A Night to Remember and several other movies. If you want to be technical,
did you see that Titanic movie with the cartoons and the rapping dog? Oh, terrible!
I never did. And then,
don't do that.
The movie that knocked off Titanic was based on a classic TV show, Lost in Space, 1998, March of '98. It knocked Titanic out of the #1 spot that it held for 3 months. And
Lost in Space knocked off Titanic, really?
Really?
Just for like 1 week.
But it was horrible. It was disastrous. It was a tragedy.
I couldn't stand the child actor who played Will Robinson, but they did bring back some of the originals. Angela Cartwright, Marta Kristen, whom I interviewed last week live face-to-face on my channel, The Nostalgic Podcast, from Stellar Fest Convention And it was really a lot of hooey, that movie, except for their cameos. I didn't like it at all. The Netflix series is okay. Did you see this Lost in Space Netflix?
Yeah, I never finished
No,
it. I watched the first 2 seasons. I think I did like it. It took itself a little too seriously. It didn't feel like Lost in Space, but like
a movie's so bad. A movie's so bad that Gary Oldman can't save it. That's a pretty bad movie.
Dr. Zachary Smith. Correct.
He's the only good thing in the whole movie. He really is.
I'll close out my segment. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
A little fun fact for you Friends fans out there. After they did Lost in Space together, Gary Oldman guest starred in an episode of Friends. He plays a very famous actor playing opposite Joey, but he keeps spitting in Joey's face. And it causes this big hoo-ha. Because Joey's psyched, he gets this part off this amazing actor, but every time he tries to say a line, the guy spits in his face. It's hysterical.
I don't watch Friends. Friends is dumb.
You know who you didn't see in the Lost Space movie was Jonathan Harris, who was still alive, the original Dr. Zachary Smith. He refused to do Star Trek The Next Generation. For years, they were after him to do a guest spot. And he says, no, my loyalty is with a little show called Lost in Space. He told me so. I have it on videotape. And then my final big screen movie based on a TV show, To the Good, The Fugitive. Harrison Ford, Tommy Lee Jones, which won Tommy Lee Jones an Oscar as Lieutenant Gerard. That was awesome. Shot partially in Chicago, Illinois, during the St. Patrick's Day Parade. And I just thought it was a really good remake. So that's, and then the bad one, I did say last time, I lied to you. A horrible, this is something you guys made me think of, a horrible TV show brought to the big screen, Bewitched, with Will Ferrell. And
it
was crap on a stick times 10. I hated
like
it.
Pons' face says it all.
It does. I'm actually making that face deliberately now to mirror myself. Yes. Will Ferrell is to remakes what Will Smith is to remakes. We should pass a law saying nobody with the name Will can do a remake. More about that later.
Never make a remake of nothing.
Don't you dare.
Jim Von Spiegel. See, I don't think the comments from my Facebook are populating, but it says, thanks, Fugitive was well. Oh, there it is on the screen. Hello.
Yeah. Hey, let me state this real quick, that Will Ferrell is responsible for the worst remake that ever existed. The worst thing that he could even be called a reboot, remake, or anything else. And that is Land of the Lost, and he should be for that forever.
Okay, so Land of the Lost is the one exception. It's probably the only movie I like with him in it that's tolerable. Okay, it's a true thing. The rest of them are not. I can't with any of them, especially Elf. Ooh. Anyway.
I have a trivia question for the panel. Thrash will come back.
Yeah,
all right, what is one of the first TV shows made into a big screen movie while it was still on the air?
While
a TV show.
Still on the air?
It was still on the air. It's not the Munsters, because the Munsters was a big screen movie right after it was canceled, like a week after.
Buck Rogers or Battlestar Galactica.
Earlier than that, my friend. And no, those predated, by the way. Those were, Buck Rogers was released 6 months before it aired on TV. As a theatrical release.
Still in theaters.
Yes, Batman, 1966. Great job, Tug. I knew you get it.
I had to think on it real hard.
It was filmed in between seasons 1 and 2 of the original TV show. They're very good. And think of all the reboots and remakes of Batman. All the different Batmans. Michael Keaton, I guess, would be the next Batman, 1989, after 1966 Batman.
Michael
That's a long gap.
Best Batman forever.
I agree with that. Awesome. And speaking of Batman Forever, Val Kilmer, whom we'll talk about tonight, I thought he did a commendable job.
One thing, I popped out and came back because I had to say something live about Land of the Lost. And that is one of the things which makes a successful reimagining of a movie or a show is there has to be some kind of love to the source material. And Will Ferrell did a whole interview. He said, we got all these people who love the show, and so we're making a movie with love to this show that we love when we love and love and love and love and love and love. And I started watching it, and I go, well, it's weird. They took Marshall, Will, and Holly, which are a father and his children, and it turned it into a love triangle. Are you trying to gross us out? What's wrong with you people? It's like right out the gate, you destroyed. You didn't just reimagine, you destroyed the setting. I grudge watched it. I must confess, I grudged watching because I'm like, no, I have to watch this all the way through so I can say from top to bottom how terrible it was, and I can. You know,
the first mistake they made was putting Will Ferrell in it.
well, sometimes comedic actors can do competent roles. Sometimes, not always.
I do my own stunts.
I have to admit, I might be somewhat prejudiced because I can't stand Will Ferrell and nothing he's in. Do not like the man. Wish I could kick him right in the nards.
Not even
He
Anchorman.
has them? That's
You
crazy.
didn't like Anchorman?
I didn't even like Talladega Nights, which is probably the best thing he ever did.
Wow,
Elf?
that show was boring.
No,
Elf is
no.
terrible.
Okay.
Bob
I like
Newhart
Elf.
couldn't save that
That's
movie.
the only Will Ferrell movie I like.
You're insane, Ted.
Step Brothers with John C. Reilly. The interplay between the two of them as two overgrown adolescents. It struck a chord with me. It reminded me of like one of those old screwball comedies. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of like Step Brothers.
Those used to be good. That movie was awful. So.
Well, I got to kick it. Of course, I'm a huge John C. Reilly fan. I even like him when he's not doing comedy. Yeah,
he was awesome in that King Kong movie.
Yes,
the Vietnam King Kong movie. I can't remember the name of it.
Yes, and it's funny because it was such a silly role. It was so hard to take seriously.
But he made it so
believable.
earnest. Yeah,
it was
so good in that.
Yeah.
Even
like Check It Out. If any of you have ever seen Check It Out, the sort of parody of stupid sitcoms, he's hilarious in it.
So on that note, I'm gonna talk about King Kong. Because there have been several remakes of King Kong.
Yes.
I haven't seen any of them.
Really? That's weird.
Oh, he's joking.
I especially like the Japanese one with Mechanicong. That's great. No,
yeah.
I saw one recently. I don't know which one it was, but like they were fighting. Like King Kong was fighting Godzilla, and then some corporation made some robot Godzilla to fight Godzilla. Then King Kong did some sign language to some little girl, and then she went and saved Godzilla. It was weird.
Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah.
Whatever. It was bizarre, and I don't know why I was watching it. But
there's one after that too. It's got Kong with that metal thing on his arm. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh well. Anyways, I will maybe watch that. Never. So.
The thing about the two prime King Kong remakes, the one from the 70s and the one from the 2000s, is that I think they missed the mark for the exact opposite reason. Like I feel like the 70s one misses the mark because it doesn't have anything to do with Skull Island. It just tries to tell the story straight about just King Kong and nothing else, and I think that you lose a lot with that. Whereas the 2000s version spent way too long on Skull Island. It's like an hour and a half on Skull Island and like 20 minutes in New York, and it's really annoying.
Yeah.
I feel like the Peter Jackson version is too let's see, what's the word? Self-indulgent. And the 70s version did have a good cast, and I think the 2000s one had a good cast too, but I don't think there's any beating the original where King Kong is concerned. I do think the original is still the best.
Mighty Joe Young could be considered a reboot.
Yeah, Mighty Joe Young is kind of its own thing because it's also a remake of Mighty Joe Young, which was made by the same people who made the original King Kong. It was kind of the answer to King Kong. I've talked about that on my channel to death. Where was I going? But I do like all the MonsterVerse King Kong stuff. I'm a big fan. Obviously, I've got the action figures. But like, it's just goofy popcorn entertainment. It's not meant to be taken seriously. Whereas the original King Kong is like a cultural landmark. You know, there's no.
It's always going to be the original King Kong for me. But if I had to pick a remake that I like best, it would not be the one with Jack Black in it.
Exactly.
I skipped that completely.
One from the 70s with the hot blonde and Dan Haggerty.
Jessica Lange.
Yeah,
I don't like Jack Black.
Introducing Jessica Lange.
Jessica Lange fans. She's really hot.
She didn't have enough of a chest for me, but whatever.
My first memories of Jack Black are that stupid what was it? Was it the third one or the second one? Whatever it was of Never Ending Story, right? He's the bully kid.
Oh yeah, Never Ending Story Part 3. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyways, that was
Hathaway, Boxy from Battlestar Galactica, the little kid with the bowl cut.
Yeah, Boxy. Yep.
Yeah, but I like Jack Black and most stuff he does.
He was terribly miscast in King
but
Kong.
in the King Kong movie, it did not work for me. And
No.
well, Adrian Brody's what didn't work for me.
There was this weird time in the 2000s where they were trying to turn Adrian Brody into an action hero. It was very
Why?
strange.
Yeah, why?
It was very
Why?
odd.
Oh, yeah. Have you seen him? Not, I don't think action at
He even
all.
got like all jacked up for that Predators movie. And
Oh,
still
man,
that
yeah.
was awful too.
Adrian
Weird.
Brody, if he's gonna do a remake, he should do a remake of Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah, there you go.
I like Jack Black and Cable Guy.
No, I
I
like
love
Jack
the
Black.
Cable Guy.
Dude.
Terribly underrated movie by Ben Stiller with Jim Carrey. Love it.
But I have
Anyway.
to agree with Dan. He's horrible in that King Kong movie, and I love Jack Black. I've loved
love
him since I
Tenacious
first
D.
saw him.
Goosebumps. Did you like Goosebumps?
Tenacious D is
yeah.
great.
I think
Okay, I admit that. Tenacious D. It's funny.
No.
It's actually funny.
Goosebumps.
Oh, yeah.
But
that
guys,
movie.
it's not my turn, but the King Kong 76, because I'm Gen X, I know most people hate it. Older people, boomers, they hate it because they like the original. They take it personally, but it did hit with that cast that you spoke about, Tug. I like the music in it too by John Barry.
Yeah, John Barry music.
Corbin Burnson had a role. I don't think he's even credited. I think he was like a featured extra as a reporter.
Yep.
Remember when Kong goes berserk on the red carpet and he crushes Charles Grodin's character to death? I will say there is a nice longer version they finally released on Blu-ray. It was the NBC TV cut with a lot of deleted scenes, especially when he's rampaging through New York. Really good stuff, I think. So those are the good things. And it said introducing Jessica Lange in the beginning. I love that credit, remember? And they did a play on that in the Hollywood special of Guardians of the Galaxy, introducing Kevin Bacon. But they did that with Live and Let Die that we talked about earlier, introducing Jane Seymour as Solitaire. Yeah, I just love that credit. You don't see that anymore. And then Post Minority Wings Trice remake with Jessica Lange. That was a hot and heavy one with Jack Nicholson, fully nude, right? Jessica Lange in that movie. Anyway, for the creeps out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, yeah. What was I going to say? Jeff Bridges also. He's basically the main character. He's
That
great.
big old beard.
Yeah.
Right?
Like I said, I love the cast in the 76 version. And like, if I was a little bit old enough to have seen it like in the theater, I probably would like it a little bit more. But looking at it now, I get really disappointed when Kong finally shows up and you see the full-sized mechanical Kong for like maybe 3 seconds.
They had problems with that, like the shark and Jaws. A lot of problems. Yeah.
And
the Twin Towers, hello, World Trade Center.
Twin Towers, the World Trade Center, which is
climbing the Twin
Towers. The
Towers.
Trade Center is pretty cool. I agree.
The death of Kong was sad in that movie. The heartbeat, that was very effective.
Yeah.
I thought that was sad as hell. My girlfriend cannot watch the death of Kong at any of them. That Peter Jackson.
Something I found really creepy, right? There's a King Kong toy that come out back in 76 or 77. I put a video up about this, and it's got two little 4 or 5 foot twin towers, and you hang Kong up on top of it, and then you have to hit the targets on the twin towers to make him fall off.
Oh, that can age well.
This little gun thing, right? And if you look right where the targets on the twin towers are, you'll be like, "Oh my God!"
Whoa,
that's messed up.
I'll be right back. I got all the King Kong top cards. I'm gonna go get them. I'll be back.
Yeah, go for it.
I hope he ain't got
Get your pants on. There we go.
No, I don't think he's got the toy. I think he was.
He comes back with some twin towers with targets.
No, he said
I'm
cards.
gonna take the camera off. But it's
Indy
on my
says he
Pons
had it.
channel if anybody wants to see it. If one Gia memes in the chat, I'm sure he'll drop the link.
Well, I grew up in Orlando, and I went to Universal Studios a lot. And the mechanical King Kong in the King Kong ride at Universal, which I don't think even exists anymore, was fantastic. I loved that ride. It was a great ride.
I've been on that.
Yeah,
I think that one like burned up in the fire at the studios here in California. Yeah, but you know what didn't burn up, which is a shame, was that freaking Fast and Furious. I don't know how that survived. That's weird. Anyways, I think they got rid of that finally
and they had to shut down Jaws because it kept eating people. So
look, that makes more sense than that Fast and Furious garbage.
I've been to Florida since the 90s, probably.
Hey, Thrash, can you make me big for 1 second? When it's my turn, I want to show you the King Kong cards.
Well,
okay, sure.
Hold on, I'll make you big.
Ooh, make him big.
Let me change my camera. All right. Let me change my camera shot. Just give me 1 second. I should have done this a moment ago. There we go. These are my King Kong Tops cards. Oh, you can't see them because of the glare.
Yeah.
You can see like the top half of them.
And you see the big poster. I mean, they have like a puzzle. I mean, and anyway, yeah, this won't be very good entertainment because they're sticking together. I don't know why. No jokes.
You weren't kidding about Jessica Lange, huh?
It's the bubble gum. It's the bad cardboard bubble gum. Here's a good shot of the creature. Rick Baker. By the way, Rick Baker played Kong. I think in the this version. I know he did.
He did.
And he played a pilot. He was cast as a pilot in the 2005 Peter Jackson movie that shot down Kong. All right. What's
up, BK?
Well, I think that's funny. Chances like just because they had bubblegum and they're in plastic. No, the plastic just sticks together after a while.
And they got the natives right, too.
Oh, yeah. Hi, BK. And actually, that's a really good pick, BK. That's an awesome one. I didn't even think of that one. Because I don't like the original The Mummy that much, which has gotten me in trouble on this channel. But I love the Brendan Fraser version. I think it's
and that was what I was bringing up next was The Mummy. So that's
go for it.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's your turn.
Okay.
Anyway.
Awesome. That's good job, BK. It's out of my head, I think. Or not, whatever. But the thing of it is like recently I just watched it again, and you know, I'd only seen the original one once, and I was like a little kid, right? And I didn't do anything for me. I was really into any of that stuff, right? But I liked it enough, right? Obviously, because when it came out again with Brendan Fraser, and I like Brendan Fraser a lot. He's awesome, actually. I like him. I like him in was it Phantom or whatever it was? Right? That was awesome. But yeah. So I mean, I like the storyline. The special effects are pretty good up until you get to the Scorpion King, and then you're like, ugh. Well, anyways, never mind about that. But yeah, the Mummy, dude, I like it. I like it. Not that I'm older to the original one, which I still haven't seen all the way through. Again, now that I'm an adult, but I want to. Oh no, we lost Pons.
He's just popping back out and back in so he can unfreeze.
He's a popper. Anyways,
he's very sensitive about his freezing.
Well, because Dan keeps making me take screenshots.
I don't make you make the videos though.
No, I already have them, and then they just happen. I don't know. My phone does it itself. Don't blame me.
It's ironic you people keep calling it a copy of Indiana Jones when Indiana Jones was itself a copy of all those adventure movies from the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and all those serials and stuff. So I think right. Putting The Mummy together with that kind of style actually works, makes sense. Sure, it is a little bit. It's not the same movie as the original The Mummy, which is probably for the best because I don't think the original Mummy has a very good plot.
But
I got to stop talking about the original Mummy because I'm going to get into trouble again because all the Universal horror fans who come to my channel berate me endlessly for not loving the Mummy.
Well, look, they're not going to like my take on things either.
I think the Brendan Fraser Mummy's the best Mummy movie. I like the original Mummy movie, because it's a classic monster, but it's like one of them three parts where you had the really good original, the really better remake, and the really crappy Tom Cruise Mummy.
Oh, God. I knew somebody had to bring it up.
Because we're going to have words later. It's my job to bring up the turds.
One of the things I have to bring up, though, about the Brendan Fraser Mummy, especially in the first one, we talk a lot about bad CGI and how it ruins movies. When the the army of Anubis shows up, and they're all like they're not in like perfect step. That it seems like there's a whole conglomeration of them, and the battle with the Anubis I thought came off really, really well. Mm-hmm. Which is funny because they're shadowboxing CGI and that normally would fail, but I thought they pulled it off. And I wanted to mention a good version of CGI.
I saw that movie after I graduated high school, right? My aunt took me to see it. So I had a broken leg and I went to see it in theaters, right? It was like super hot summertime. Anyways, and that movie was just awesome in the theaters. 10 out of 10, recommend seeing. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the Tom Cruise remake. I want to
don't see that.
I want to talk about it because I actually thought
talk about it.
I thought Universal had a good idea. They really did. Like to reboot the whole Universal classic monsters and do it as a more of a horror theme, like make straight up horror movies. And I think there's 2 or 3 scenes in that Tom Cruise mummy movie that actually do that, where you got like the weird like things in the alley, the like the mummies in the alley and stuff, and it's actually a little bit, it's trying to be a little scary. However, 2 minutes or so do not a good movie make, because then the rest of the movie is just this jumbled mess where it's trying to be part American Werewolf in London and part the MCU. You've got Russell Crowe turning into Mr. Hyde, and it's stupid looking. And
yeah, I wish you would remind me of this movie.
Come on.
If you ask me,
Russell Crowe, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde should have been its own movie. It would have been better than this piece of garbage.
What they should have done is they should have done what Marvel did. They should have had all these independent movies first and then tried to tie them all together.
And with no Tom Cruise.
And yet Tom Cruise was horribly miscast.
like Valkyrie.
Bad.
Bizarrely miscast.
Yeah, I can't Tom Cruise.
If you ask me, the movie with the best plot involving a mummy, believe it or not, is actually Abbott and Costello. The Abbott and Costello meets the
I
mummy.
can see that. Yeah.
It's a really good plot with a fairly solid twist ending. And that's also where I get my catchphrase. You know, what did one mummy say to the other mummy? Hello, Clarice.
The best mummy movie I really saw was about the mummy being from outer space and stuff, and it's an old 70s college professor finds a mummy and it's from outer space, and it comes back looking for some crystals or something.
A space mummy.
Okay, that sounds fun. I would see that. I would totally see that.
I don't remember the name of it. Dude.
Yeah, that's the worst part of it is it does sound good. And I bet you it's not, but it does sound good.
Well, there's that early 80s vampires from space, Life Force.
Life Force, yeah. Which, as we discussed, was inspired heavily from the Quatermass 5 million years to Earth.
Yep, absolutely.
Very heavily.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, you're right.
It's called Time Walker.
Okay, I'm putting that in my notes. I'm going to look that up.
Time
Send me
Walker.
the link later, too.
It's Luke's brother who was a time traveler.
The only other thing I could think of was obviously Body Snatchers, but we pretty much just talked that one to death already. I love Body Snatchers.
I'm always
one of the very first live streams I ever did on this channel was me and Thrash talking about all 4 Body Snatchers movies. And we've been having that conversation ever since.
I like the original one, and the one with what's his bucket? We just talked about whatever his name.
Donald Sutherland.
There you go. Him and the other guy that was a fly. Whatever. Yeah, him. Whatever. I like Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum has a small part. Yes.
Yeah, he exists.
And Spock, obviously. Come on, Leonard Nimoy.
Oh,
even a smaller part, but yes, he was good in it as well. And
Veronica Cartwright.
Karen Allen was the girl's name. I can't think of the girl's name to save my life.
It was the one who looks like Karen Allen.
Yes, but all I can think of now is Karen Allen.
Brooke Adams.
Thank you. It was going to kill me if I
she was topless. She was topless in that movie too. For the creeps out there.
Yep. right near the end.
Oh yes.
It's in the time index. Oh, sorry.
But if the creeps are in the audience, go watch Life Force with Matilda May.
There you go.
She's on.
I remember
Matilda May anytime she wants.
The Life Force trailer is one of them strikes that got one of my channels took down.
Really?
Yeah. I got in trouble with YouTube yesterday in a community post I made. I'm like, what?
What? I never heard of that.
If I'm going to get in trouble, I'll figure it out. I just exist and I'm in trouble.
One of you must know this. Was Bill Nighy in Life Force? Now,
Bill Nighy.
Nighy. Sorry.
I don't know.
I could have sworn he was in that, but again, I might be confusing 2 things. I haven't seen Life Force in years.
Yeah, I haven't seen it since I knew who Bill Nighy was. That's how long it's been. Bill
Nighy, he was in Valkyrie. He was in Shaun of the Dead. He plays the stepfather.
Yeah, he's in the American version of
I saw that
Hitchhiker's
movie.
Guide to the Galaxy.
I
Sorry.
always really
Yes!
consider
Yes!
Life Force. I really consider Life Force like one of them quartermass movies that Tug was talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I just
that's what he
said
said.
that not 2 minutes ago. I just said that.
I really do.
I do the
I was
same thing,
agreeing with
man.
you, Tug. I was
It's like an
agreeing
Al
with you,
Hardy
Tug.
moment. Yeah.
Me too.
I had to think it over, but I did agree with you.
Yeah.
I'm just busting your chops, Danny. I love you. In a healthy, non-threatening kind of way.
Oh, that's weird.
Oh, Indy
No.
says no. Indy
Yeah,
says
I just looked it up too. He's not in it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's
But
probably
it's
somebody who
pretty-
just looks a lot like him. That
Yeah,
happens. But Patrick Stewart's in it.
No. Yeah, it's also his first on-screen kiss with a man. So there you
Yep,
go.
there's that.
But,
Remember when Chris Reeve kissed Michael Caine in Death Trap? That was interesting. Anyway, I digress. You just
No,
made
I didn't see that.
right on the list. Look like they were exchanging tongues, huh?
Oh, well, shout out to a really terrible remake. We can talk about the Sleuth remake. That is just, they turn it all into this gay subtext thing, and it's, I hate it. Anyway.
Okay.
But be clear, we don't hate gay. We
No,
hate
just that.
just bad
Right.
remakes of it, you know.
Bad remakes that turn
people hear
movies.
things, out of context.
You're
You
right. You're right. You're right.
Good point. Good point.
Is it Dan's turn?
Yes.
I've lost track. Yes, it is. Yes. Dan.
Okay, let's talk about a TV show that, and this is special because I went and saw these two movies like last week with the kids at the Dollar Movies, and they had a Charlie's Angel double feature. We went and saw Charlie's Angels, and then we saw Full Throttle right after that with a 15-minute intermission for $1. And I thought it was a good deal till I sat through part two. But the Charlie's Angels series is one of my favorite series forever. I love the Charlie's Angels. I know Chance is a big fan of Cheryl Ladd.
Oh, Charles is amazing.
Oh yeah,
We've talked
Farrah.
about it. And then they made the movie, and the movie I thought was really good. The first movie, the Charlie's Angels remake was awesome.
Glover, Crispin
And I
Glover.
don't know what they were thinking when they did Full Throttle. I really don't. It was like it's like they destroyed everything they had built in part one.
Yeah. Well, anyways,
Not wrong.
it was
I'll give credit
like
where credit's due.
okayish.
And I could not believe the difference in that little girl that done growed up to be in Charlie's Angels from Firestarter.
Drew Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore, man. It's like I've been watching her my whole life. From the time she was a kid to the time she's done grown up. Now she's an old lady with a TV show.
Hi, Tracy.
She is still
Still
the
good.
youngest person to ever host Saturday Night Live. She was 8 years old, I believe. But
She
yeah,
did a remarkable job in Charlie's
Good
Angels, though.
Spend time with your husband and have a good lunch, Tracy. Good to see you.
Tracy, love you, Bubba.
So
Happy
that's
Passover, my dear.
Yes.
So once again, Tug, that's my choice for remakes that I actually like. The first one, anyway, Charlie's Angels.
No, you're not wrong. The first Charlie's Angels is actually pretty good.
Great. Yeah, even my parents enjoyed it, and that's
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't like the second one. I thought it was horrible.
What about the Kristen Stewart one?
No, I don't know that one.
I don't either.
Sorry. That was
You know
just
who
like
directed that,
4
don't
or
you,
5 years ago. It was terrible. It was absolutely
Oh,
terrible.
yeah, no,
It
4 or 5 years
Oh,
ago.
well, I
Director of Cocaine Bear, the host of Fight for Life.
Yep, that guy.
No, that girl.
That
I
girl,
still-
I mean.
I still need to see.
Wait
that
a
movie.
minute. I remember now. I remember why
It
part
was-
2 sucked. I
You guys
remember
not-
what made part 2 suck more than anything. Bill
What?
Murray wasn't in it.
Ah,
True.
yeah.
There was no Bill Murray.
That's what killed it.
Well, apparently there was some drama behind the scenes between the starlets and Mr. Murray.
Well, they need
Based
to-
on what
they
we've
need to
found out about him in
squash
more
it.
recent
Yeah.
years, I can only imagine what it was like. But yeah.
You know, Bill
Elizabeth
Murray is Bill
Banks.
Elizabeth Banks. Thank you. I was
Banks
gonna say her
Elizabeth
name.
Banks. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
I think one of my favorite lines in the Charlie's Angels movie is the Chinese fighting muffins. I thought was hilarious. I mean, it's just like stuck in the wall. That's great. And
No,
that's
that
what
was
I
a
don't
really
think.
good choice, Dan. Like when it comes to TV shows turned into movies, that's probably one of the best. Like honestly.
I thought
Oh,
Elizabeth Banks was a chain of islands off the coast of New England.
Well, you know, there's
She played Betty Brant in the Spider-Man movies. That's one of my picks later. The Spider-Man movies.
Spider-Man's a good.
She's directed a couple things too. Actually, she is a director as well.
Cocaine Bear, like I just said, and Charlie's Angels.
And Charlie's Angels. I think that was her it was like her passion project was to make.
I just had a
Angels.
Danny moment. I'm so sorry. I didn't hear you guys say director. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
That's okay. No problem.
We all talk over each other all the
Each
time.
other.
It happens.
It
Yeah, it was Bernie Mac instead of Bill Murray. What a downgrade.
Yeah, he ruined it.
Gary Carpenter's like 15 minutes behind or something. I love it. He's commenting on things we said minutes and minutes ago.
Oh
I love
yeah,
it.
that's always fun. Yeah.
Gary's awesome.
Love you, Gary.
By Leslie Nielsen. Yep.
And hey, Keith E.
And Milton Bradley. I love the name, by the way. I love
One of the
name.
first things he mentioned was a game of some sort. So yeah, it's fun.
They should make the Axis and Allies the movie.
Yeah.
Actually, any World War II movie would count as the Axis and Allies the movie.
Even 1941 by Spielberg. Is Dan done, or do you have? How's this working?
Well, I mean, if anybody has anything else to say about Charlie's Angels, we can talk about Charlie's
Angels
Angels.
was my go for that round. I've got
Okay.
another one. but
We can keep going then. We
No.
can try to speed through this. Thrash. Oh, nope, he's gone.
Yeah,
real quick.
We'll
Yeah,
give
go.
Thrash a quick one, and then
Here's
it'll
a
be your turn.
remake for
Yeah,
you to
we'll wait for
discuss.
Crash.
Here, Chance, listen to this.
What?
Not a remake from a TV show. Not a remake from a movie. But a remake from a video game? Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I was gonna say that they made like
Oh,
4 or 5
what
of those.
about? What about? Yeah. What
And
about
Super Mario
Street
Brothers.
Fighter?
Because it's
I
set
love
to the
Street
story
Fighter.
from the Mortal Kombat game.
Yeah.
And then it became a movie. And the same thing could be said for
Max
Doom
Payne.
when they ruined it.
So, am I up there, Tug?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was your
Yeah.
turn.
Super. While I'm still animated, I'm going to go with, and believe it or not, the two are connected, but I'm going to go with Fargo. I was always a huge fan of the Fargo movie. I love the Coen Brothers, and that's one of my favorites. Not my favorite, but one of my favorite Coen Brothers movies. But then they did the TV series, and a lot of people don't realize that the two are actually connected, but they all take place within the same universe. And each shows, and there have been 5 so far, each installment makes some reference to the movie. So it's really, I don't know if it necessarily constitutes as a reboot, but if you want to look at the sort of continuing adventures of this Midwestern community and their trials and tribulations, I think it works, and it works very well. I don't know if there's a lot of Fargo fans among you guys or our viewers, but I actually started watching Fargo about 3 shows in, and I went to great lengths to sort of catch up. I have seen all 5 seasons, and I have enjoyed all 5, some more than others, but I have enjoyed all 5. And this 5th one, as you guys know, the only show I did a complete retrospect on, where I covered all episodes of the entire series, was Fargo season 5. So I just want to say, if anything, I think I love the TV show more than the movie.
Excellent.
I like
Yes.
the movie a lot. I haven't seen but a couple episodes of the TV series. One day I'm going to have to go back and rewatch it all the way through. But the movie was great.
Yeah.
I'll-
The movie is great. And the funny thing is,
watch again no time soon, but it was great when I did see it.
you
Oh,
really need to,
yeah.
like, for example, when I
Okay.
tried to watch Fargo, the TV show, I skipped around because I was working at the time. So I was actually watching it at work. So I watched it when I could. And it's one of those shows where if you don't watch it chronologically, it makes absolutely no sense. It's like you feel like you're watching something by like you're watching Eraserhead or something. It doesn't make any sense to you. So
I don't
David
know.
Lynch.
One
David
thing,
Lynch
the
is the name
one
of
bad
the book,
thing,
so.
and I like to point out the bad stuff. The one bad thing I'll say about the movie Fargo was the pregnant cop lady puking all the time really was annoying, and it was somewhat sickening.
Little fun fact though, by the way, Fargo is the only movie in American cinema where the main character is pregnant, and it is not in any way germane to the plot, tied in, referenced. There are a couple of scenes where they mentioned that she's expecting, but it's not like she has to drop what she's doing in an awkward moment. You think when you first start watching the movie, like, oh, she's going to capture the killer and go into labor, and it's like, nope. It's like she just happens to be pregnant.
Hey, it's also the only movie I've ever saw that featured a leg sticking out of a wood chipper while it was being cremated.
Which is actually based on an actual event.
It was pretty gross. But...
Well, I was at the ER on Thursday. There was somebody there with a chainsaw incident in his knee. Not good. Yeah. Yeah. Right.
It's funny because I told my wife I need a chainsaw.
Right?
Hello, geek culture.
Yes, geek culture. What's up, brother? I know lots of geeks now. They're just falling everywhere around me. Just raining geeks. It's awesome.
It's raining.
I had a chainsaw, but they hit it from me. They don't want me using it no more.
I haven't seen the Fargo TV show, so I don't have a lot of thoughts. I really wanted to when you were like doing your thing. I really wanted to catch up, but that was a big investment, man.
It truly is. It's like you got to want to. You can't just put it on and like just sort of have it on in the background. No, you have to watch it. And some people don't like. I could never get Mrs. Thrash to watch it with me because she's more of a put it on and veg viewer.
Right.
It's
I've actually got tons of these DVD sets of a whole series like Northern Exposure that I'm going to sit down one day and rewatch all these series, but I just hadn't got around to it yet. I got this one that's got every episode of the Avengers TV series, even the old episodes before Emma Peel and all that, the black and white ones. I'm going to actually sit back and watch all them one day too.
It's funny you mentioned. A lot of people think Diana Rigg was the first.
Mrs. Peel.
The first partner, and she's
Honor
not.
Blackman. Honor Blackman. That's a character, folks.
First partner.
She played best known as Pussy Galore in Goldfinger, the third Sean Connery and third James Bond movie of all time.
Chance for the win.
Yeah,
well, I was so angry. I couldn't wait to start watching that, and I threw them in there, and I watched the first 2 episodes and realized it was 2 seasons before Emma Peel showed up. So I took them out, put them back in the box, and they'd opened them up since.
So yeah, I watched all that stuff when I was like in high school because my mom was like found them at Suncoast Video. I missed that place. Anyways,
you missed that place. I made it for 6 years.
Yeah, Suncoast Video, man. Oh, I could marry that. Okay. Anyways, never mind about that.
Honeymooners Lost Episodes. I bought at Suncoast. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I used to go to different malls to get the complete set.
I went to all the malls before to get Star Trek stuff. Yeah, I remember.
The hidden episodes was the video. Actually, it was the Honeymooners, the hidden episodes on VHS. It was the lost episodes on Showtime.
Well, we like Emma Peel and John Steed so much that in child development, I named my twin eggs I had to carry around with me with their names, because of course. And then my cousin had 2 rabbits named John Steed and Emma Peel. But if you don't give them water on 120 day, they're just not going to live. FYI.
Okay, Chance, it's your turn.
That's terrible.
Honorable mentions of TV shows made for the big screen. The Man from U.N.C.L.E. with Superman, Henry Cavill. I thought that was really good. If you haven't seen that, I saw it on the big screen. It didn't do well at the box office. Yeah. Nice British production. What does UNCLE stand for? A bit of trivia. And the Man from U.N.C.L.E.
I used to know this.
I'll just tell you, in the interest of time, United Network of Command and Law Enforcement.
Right.
That's
United Network, UNCLE. United Network C. I screwed it up. United Network Command. United Network Command for Law Enforcement. That's it. Command.
Are we talking about movies made from TV shows now, like the A-Team and stuff?
I mean, that's still qualifies.
A-Team was good.
A-Team was awesome. I love that movie.
Yeah.
I love the part where they're going down in the tank.
Bradley Cooper. I thought that A-Team was really good.
Yeah, I thought they would be more, but they wasn't.
A-Team. Living with the A-Team.
How about this? This is a movie that Rod Serling wrote in part that became rebooted, remade. It was a TV show, Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
Planet of the Apes. I actually liked some of the Planet of the Apes movies better than others. Even the original. I like Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, and that's one that people hate. I thought that was a cool movie set. In
I have given it so
1991.
much love on this channel. I have tried to change people's mind about Conquest of the Planet of the Apes.
No,
but, you
I
know,
cannot think of nothing to do with Planet of the Apes I didn't like. I liked everything. I liked the remakes. Okay, I'm not a Planet of the Apes hater.
The current stuff, the current continuity of Planet of the Apes that they're doing right now, I think is fantastic.
Yeah.
I think War, which was like the third one, not the most recent one, but the one before that, is one of the best movies I've ever seen. Like,
They're doing a
it
really
is so
job
good.
I've got to see it. I haven't seen it just because I don't want modern stuff. I'm a purist.
Don't get me wrong. You know, I still prefer the original stuff, and I still like anything to do with Charlton Heston better than
Don't
anything
make me
else.
That's the TV show. Don't make me big.
Charlton Heston guy.
No, I know it's the TV show. Yeah.
The Legacy Collection is very rare on Blu-ray, but I have it. That's the TV show. It lasted 13 episodes,
Something like
half
that,
a season by 20th Century Fox. Roddy McDowell was in all the original Apes.
He was. And
TV.
Dr.
Let
Zayas
me point out real
was
quick
the
that
only
there was a
holdover.
cartoon series for Planet of the Apes that
Yes,
I watched
it
on
was.
Saturday morning. That was pretty
That
cool
was the
too.
thing.
I have it on my DVR. 1975, the Ray Network, Del Ray Network, which is now defunct, ran that.
Yeah, horrible
about 5
animation,
years
but
ago.
it was still a pretty good show.
But they had a great song, I'm Going Humanoid Over You, which I still sing every now and then to myself. And it's been 50 years. I'm going humanoid over you.
I've got
I
an
did not make that up.
I've
My
got
favorite
an
Planet of the Apes song is
Very
Dr.
nice.
Zayas, Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas,
Yeah.
Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas.
I know
hate
that.
every chimp I see.
Yeah,
From chimpanzee to chimpanzee.
I had that CD.
another
Yeah,
film
time.
series that's been redone, going to be redone again this July is Superman.
Superman. Yep.
Just like Spider-Man. I like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, and then of course we have different actors playing Peter Parker. But I think the new Superman movie looks pretty good. My only gripe is the dog. I don't think the dog looks like the comic book Crypto.
God.
It's one of director James Gunn's. I said it many times. In Gunn I trust, so I'm not knocking it. I think it's going to be great. But I predict they will do a Yoda moment like in Revenge of the Sith, where Yoda just kicks total ass. He looks so timid, of course, little guy, but he always said from his first appearance, Empire Strikes Back, "Don't judge me by my size." Right? What was the line? What was the line in Empire Strikes Back? It should be ingrained in my brain. Says Luke Skywalker.
Judge me by my
Judge
size.
by my
do
size,
you?
do you?
Yeah.
And that's what they're putting.
And well, you should not, because my ally is the Force or something like that. But I think they're going to do a bit with Crypto like that, where he just looks like this timid little puppy, but then he's going to defend Kal-El
Yeah,
to
and
the
he's
death.
gonna look like the puppy from stupid freaking what's that?
I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna say the dog from The Mask when he put the mask on.
No, not that.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was awful too. But no, I was thinking of like Scooby Doo. You know, the Scrappy stupid thing.
I was thinking of that. Remember that movie, Man's Best Friend, where you find out the dog has actually been experimented in a lab and is actually like really lethal, something like that.
Yeah,
You're gonna get Dan starting to talk about avoiding his dog again.
Who is the best Superman panel? Christopher Reeve is my favorite.
Christopher Reeve.
I know
I'm
Sarah's
George
answer.
Reeves. I love George Reeves.
Yep,
He's my
I knew you'd
first.
say that.
Mm-hmm. I watched him before I went to kindergarten. I love that man. He's awesome.
Someone in chat, Wim van der Straten said, I like Superman Returns from 06. Only thing I didn't like was that Superman was a deadbeat dad. He left Earth after his son was born. What's up with that?
I didn't like that they had a Lois Lane
child
character who was supposed to be old and seasoned. She was supposed to be a Pulitzer Prize winning writer who was facing the end of her career, and they cast like a 20-year-old. What?
Well, right, yeah, because she's awful, and you know,
yeah,
they just were giving her the words to leave. Right, just go.
A remake, an updated. I guess this could be a remake more than a remake. I like the ABC TV Jimmy Kimmel produced All in the Family Jefferson's live skits. I know we're jumping, to another dimension here, but I love those. That's to the good. And then real quick, a couple things about John Carpenter. I thought the remake of The Fog by Frank Darabont was nowhere nearly as intense as the original by John Carpenter. But I liked John Carpenter's remake of Village of the Damned from 1995 much better than the original from 1960. And it had Chris Reeve and Mark Hamill in it, and Kirstie Alley, God rest her soul. And did you know, fun fact, Chris Reeve and Mark Hamill have the same birthday. So Superman and Luke Skywalker, two of my childhood heroes, have the same birthday. Did you know that? I think that's cool.
We put that on my calendar.
I met Chris Reeve when he just wrapped on Village of the Damned 9 months or eight and a half months before he was paralyzed in that terrible horse riding accident, and he was promoting the movie. He says, "Watch this movie. There's going to be some real thrills and chills." And he was right. I thought it was, those kids were so creepy. That was like early CGI, with their eyes and everything. So I guess that's about all I have this round. The Wild Wild West bad movie based on a TV show.
Worst. Yeah.
With Will Smith, who we talked about earlier. I thought that was garbage.
Did you see the Mod Squad?
Mod
Squad, yeah.
Mod Squad's good.
Starsky and Hutch. Sorry, go ahead, Sarah.
I didn't watch Starsky. No, it's fine. I didn't watch Starsky and Hutch one, but no, I forgot I was saying what the other one. Never mind. Go on.
A horrible one is Chips, the remake.
Oh God, that was awful.
Terrible.
Yeah,
with Mr. Magic Mike. Oh man.
Yeah.
How about
and then,
Baywatch remake? It was pretty bad.
Yeah. I only like the Hasselhoff parts because, of course,
all of them were pretty bad.
Another horrible remake of a movie, a successful movie, Willy Wonka. I couldn't stand the Tim Burton Willy Wonka.
Yeah, Charlie.
I could not watch that.
Well, I'm really fond of the
Johnny
Willy
Depp
Wonka movies. If you want to know the truth about it, not even the one with Gene Wilder. I'm not an Oopla fan. They freak me out, the little bastards.
Well, I'm running out of time. I got to cut my list short, but back to TV. Horrible remake of a classic show. I'm so passionate and hate for this. Outer Limits, 1995, Showtime. Could paled in insignificance compared to the original black and white ABC two-season show. I did not like it.
The Canadian series, right? The one that
it was on Showtime. I don't know if it was Canadian or not, but I know it was on Showtime. It started in 1995. The Outer Limits. Did you not see it, Thrash?
2001. Yeah,
1995.
1995 to 2001. It lasted for about 6 years.
I didn't see it all, but I watched a couple of years of it.
There were some good ones. Like, for example, there was one called The Sand Kings about a
that was
scientist.
a good one. I'll give you that.
And another one called The Dead Man's Switch, I believe it's called, about an alien invasion. And I know I must confess, a lot of them weren't as good as the original, but I thought there was some actually excellent work among them. I'm surprised you feel that passionately about it. Now, of course, I understand if you're a real fan of the original.
The black and white, the noir.
Yeah, there was a certain charm there. But I like the Canadian version by and large.
The opening was terrible, though. It didn't have the Vic Morrow voice. I mean, oh man, Vic Perrin. Sorry, Vic Perrin did the voice.
I
of
knew
the,
you meant from
the control
Star
boy.
Trek. Yeah,
and he was in Mirror Mirror on camera, right?
Yes, he was.
He was the alien, like begging, pleading with the Empire. And then how about this, guys? This movie based on Double Indemnity starring Fred MacMurray, Body Heat with Kathleen Turner. That was a remake of Double Indemnity.
And it's good.
Film noir.
Yeah.
And that was, how hot was Kathleen Turner in that movie, fellas? And ladies.
Yeah.
I mean.
And
once again, Jess, let me tell you, dude, your knowledge never ceases to impress me.
He's got an encyclopedia in that brain of his.
TV than anybody I freaking know.
Well, thanks.
Yeah,
man.
Indy, we're not done.
We're almost out of time, so we like to keep it to 90 minutes, and so I'll just yield, and we'll do a part 2 another time or something because I have a whole bunch more. I mean,
but yeah, no, the Body Heat from 1984, 85, I thought was excellent. Yes.
Yeah. Wasn't it 81? I think it was 81, but I might be wrong.
It may have been. I think I saw it on videotape years later. So it was probably a few years old when I saw it. So yeah, I'm sure you're right.
Yeah, we talked about Speedrunner briefly, Milton. It was here.
It was 1981, released in 1981 for the record, August 28th, 1981. Lawrence Kasdan directed it, by the way, directed Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
I mean, he wrote Raiders of the Lost Ark. Of course, Spielberg directed it. I just misspoke. Lawrence Kasdan wrote Empire Strikes Back, the screenplay, and he directed Body Heat. Incredible. And he wrote Raiders.
It's so funny because he was great in Body Heat. He was great in The Big Chill. He was great in the Children of Lesser God. He was great in so many movies, and then he took a nosedive. He was terrible as the father in Lost in Space. He was terrible as the Emperor in Dune. He was terrible later.
Dude,
so later on,
it's funny
don't
even get
Big Chill. Good.
We don't have enough time to talk about Dune. Okay.
Dude, it don't matter. Dude,
I like Carl Irving. He's great.
the first one they made with that fat staking guy and Sting was horrible. The remake was worse, and none of them did justice.
For the chat, what's better, the original Rocky movies or the Balboa reimagined ones with the sun?
Original.
Actually, I think Rocky sucks too. So there you go.
Ooh, shots are fired. Shots fired.
I like
saw the
both
first
the
one,
original
that was
Rocky
it.
movies and the current continuity where you had the Rocky Balboa and then it led into the Creed movies. I think they're all good. So
Okay. The one where he fought Hulk Hogan and Mr. T was pretty good.
it's goofy as all.
Rest of them were kind of crap to me, but
Rocky 3, yeah.
Everybody's entitled to their own opinions, Dan.
Oh, come on.
But the first two are good.
I got to admit to it in part one where he's
I like the first
he's in the
Rambo.
warehouse beating the meat.
Beating meat? Go on.
I have the tiger, baby.
I'm gonna beat the meat here.
Hey, we can all agree Rocky 5 is terrible, right?
The one where the Russians start like booing their own champion, start like cheering for Rocky. Yeah, that was ridiculous.
That's the.
What are you talking about? That's what happens every day. It's real life there.
You know, I was like, I was an ultra conservative Reagan supporter, and when I saw that, I'm like, that's ridiculous. They're not going to turn their back on their own like champion, you know, just because Rocky is Rocky.
I just remember hoping He-Man kicked his ass. That's all.
Yeah.
But great songs, right?
And then he gives that stupid speech at the end. Better 2 men than 20 million. I'm like, oh my god, I can feel my IQ dropping. Just
Wouldn't it sad, guys, though, when Burgess Meredith as Mickey died in Rocky 3?
Tragic. That was tragic.
But he's like the best thing ever. Burgess Meredith is a god. He's a national treasure. Yes.
Wouldn't Rocky have been so much better if Burgess Meredith had dressed like the Penguin?
It couldn't hurt.
Put him in a straight jacket. Yeah.
If Burgess Meredith had put a boxing glove and an umbrella and knocked Rocky out, I would have paid.
Rocky's gonna take you down.
We got to analyze all the Batman actors one day. Do a stream just on Batman.
Yeah, that's like a whole
Batman
topic. Yeah,
just amazing.
I'm in.
I can put that on the list of
also,
possible.
Adam West is related to me, so there you go.
But
cool.
we will have to continue this conversation
Yes,
again. This is definitely not the end.
See you later tonight, guys.
But this is the end of this stream, and yes,
Sure will.
we will all be back again to later tonight to talk about Val Kilmer. At what time is it? 7?
Before my time.
Yeah,
7.
Before my time.
It's 6
I'm
my
supposed
time.
to see you all there, or else I'm in the audience members. I know the panel will be there. It's obvious.
Yes.
I gotta hit buttons.
I'll probably even stream it here because why not?
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
I got the thing on. So
See you guys
first come,
tonight.
first serve.
Yeah. See you then.
Ciao.
Definitely.
Toodaloo.
Thank you and good night.
Happy trails. Like, subscribe, and ring the stupid little bell.
Goodbye.
Why?
And